Hi, Charles Moman here. Well, what am I sitting next to? You'll find out in just a second. Thanks for watching. What I've got here is maybe a pretty good solution for some people. It's not cheap, I'll tell you. But I've been getting questions, people asking me about air conditioning. Am I going to put a unit on the top? I know that some van builders, they'll even, especially if there's no window here, or they'll take the window out and they'll fix a way to put in like a standard 5,000 BTU like is on my runaway camper, and they make that work. And personally, if I can get by without air conditioning, that's what I want to do. I've been in some pretty hot weather in Utah, and as long as I have a fan going on me, I'm fine. And with our max air and the vent and the bunk windows, we'll be fine most of the time. But I saw this product and I reached out to the company and I said, you know, this might work. And we actually kind of talked back and forth. He wasn't really sure it would work in something this big. But I'm here to tell you that I think it will work great. Now, you have to use it for its intended purpose. And so what we have here is a portable air conditioner. It has a true rotary compressor in it. I think it's about the size of a Coke can. And it actually can put out quite a bit of cold. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the specifications about it and how it can be used. And so you might have to do some modifications to make this work. I do want to throw in here, if you're new to me, I'm not an unboxing guy, and I don't really do a million product reviews. I do things that I think are related to camping. And so, but this is not a sponsored video. You know, I contact a company if I see something that I think has promise for use for people that are the average camper. And again, when I talk about average campers, I'm talking about people who typically do weekend camping now and then maybe one or two longer trips. I'm not really talking about most of the time full-time van lifers, though this would certainly work for those people as well. So I just want you to know that, you know, I'm not required to say certain things, and I can certainly give my honest opinion, and so that's what I'll be doing today. And I want to really push that point because I've seen a couple of videos that I think have been ridiculous because they were looking at this product and trying to make it work in a situation that was never intended for. So I'll get to that in a bit. So what are the uses? Well, if you've seen their promotional video, and I may throw some of that up here, they will show it being used, especially outside, and that may seem odd to you, and it kind of did to me at first, but I kind of thought about it. It could be handy if you're camping, it's a really hot day, and hopefully you're in the shade some, but somebody's really warm, or a child or a baby, and you happen to own this, bring it out to the picnic table with the battery on, and this thing really puts out a lot of cold air. It's really amazing. You wouldn't think it would, but it really does. I refer to this as spot cooling. Okay, so if I'm in my office, say, and the air conditioning, we don't have our central air, but it's just a little warm in my office, I could see me putting this on a chair next to me or up on my counter, and just keeping it a little bit cooler. So that's kind of how I see it, and I think that's a good way. I saw someone mention that. That you see this as spot cooling. It's not going to, you know, cool down your whole big family room, for example. Now, for tent camping, I think you're golden with this. This could definitely cool things down in a tent, and even a lot of the night, depending on how you power it. If you're in a small or even a large RV, kind of like what I mentioned in my office, spot cooling. And in here, I don't expect it to necessarily bring all the temperature down, but if my wife and I are in here sleeping at night, and it's kind of a warm night, we would probably we'd have this vent open, and maybe even the max air fan blowing, and just have air moving, and then have this blowing in our sleeping area back here. I think it'll be great. Another thing you could use it for is if you're a camper and you want to go out and hiking or whatever, and you're going to leave your cat, your dog, in your RV, and you want to be safe. And I know some people have an app that lets them know the temperature of their camper. And then I saw a picture, and it made me think of it. Sometimes you're sitting outside your camper, and you're just sitting there resting, and you've got maybe an awning, and you could have this sitting there next to you just to kind of cool down. So those are kind of the uses that Zero Breeze mentions with using this Mark II. And by the way, this is the second model, and they made some really good improvements compared to the first one. And I found someone online, maybe I'll link their video below, they owned the first one, and then now they have the Mark II, and they were really, really happy with the changes that they made in it. So there are some of the basic uses of it. Well, first let me give you some of the basic specifications. If you've not watched any of my videos, I'm not an unboxer, but I will show you what came with it and a few of the optional accessories. This unit is 16.5 pounds, so it's not that heavy. And then I've got it sitting on the battery. You can buy it without the battery and run it just with a regular home outlet, shore power we call it, at a campground. Or you can add this battery, and I'll be talking about that battery shortly. But it's 16.5 pounds. It's got a micro compressor in it, and it's rated at 2300 BTU. So it's about half the size of what I have in my little runaway camper 6x8. And I got to tell you, that 5000 BTU AC in that runs us out. And so we have to keep it really turned down low. This has more square footage than my 6x8 runaway camper, but it will be filled up more, and we will have a curtain that will hang down and block the cabin off, so that makes it even less square footage, and then we'll be insulating a lot, so it's going to be more than just an empty cargo van. So they rate it, they suggest that it's usable for 25 to 40 square feet, so this is beyond that a little bit, but I think in using it in the right way, in a particular way, I think you'd be fine with it. Its dimensions are 8.5 by 13.5 by 21.5, and that's with the battery. Well, let's talk about the back of the Zero Breeze Mark II. We've got the lever that we use to release the battery. You slide it on or off. We've got a hose that we will plug in here for the condensation, just like you have with your central air. It's pulling a lot of moisture out of the air. We have our power connection. So here I've got it connected to the power brick. It's not plugged in yet, but I'll do that shortly. So that plugs in right here, and then if I want to go battery power, I unhook this and then plug this in to that same port. Now we're running from battery power, okay? And then here we have where we're exhausting the hot air. You walk past your central air unit outside of your house in the summertime, it's pumping a lot of heat out. And so that's happening here because this is a 2300 BTU air conditioner in a small package, a very small package. And so what they've developed is, let me put this on here, snap it in. So now we have exhaust coming out and fresh air coming in, and these are just your standard like dryer hoses. And I have to tell you, when I first got this, I was thinking, how on earth is this going to work with this camper? I just didn't see how it would work. Then I got back on the website, and I had already started to come up, think of an idea, and I saw some very clever ideas about how to get this to work and have this inside. Of course, if you're outdoors and you're sitting under your awning by your camper and you're spot cooling yourself and have this next to you, then you wouldn't use this at all. You wouldn't need to. I mean, I guess you could, but you don't really need to. But if you're tent camping, you would have this inside, and when you snake these out the door, and if you're inside, and I'll show some pictures here. Some people came up with ways of, some did wood, some used styrofoam, and one of their windows in their vehicle, like here, it would probably have to be one of the front or back of the front windows, and make a thing out of wood or thick styrofoam and run these out, and then we're sending the cool air in. I have the advantage that right up above me is a Max Air passive vent, so I could run these, and if I need to add an extension I could, but I could run these straight up, and I could figure out some way, and I know my wife could, and we're sending that hot air straight out that passive vent, and then we're sending cool air on us. And so if there's a will, there's a way. So another way in here would be, we're going to have a screen here and then a screen on the sliding door, so especially at nap time, because naps are important to me, or at night if you feel like you're in a safe place where you can be wide open like this and have the screen, then you could have this snaked under just like you would with the tent. So that's what we've got going on in the back of the Mark II. So now let's talk about the front of the unit. And first off, real quick, I'll just show you, I haven't put in the screws yet, but you can put this on to send out the cold air, and again, it's another extendable, like a dryer hose, so you can send the cold air where you want. So it's got screws that I can put in here. I've just not done that yet. So you can just have it coming straight out here, or you can have it more directional. And I'm going to skip down to the battery here. It's actually got some USB ports. It's not on the air conditioner itself, but on the battery. So it's got some standard USB ports plus a USB-C, and then a 12-volt DC output interface right here. So that's on the front here, and this is where you turn on the battery, right? So I'll move the camera in closer, and I'll show you the controls up here and what they do. But let me plug in to a regular wall outlet. It goes to the power brick here, and as soon as I plug it in, you hear a beep, and you can see at the top of the frame here, this red light comes on. And so there are buttons right here that you can use, and you also get a remote. So I'm going to turn on the remote, turn it on with the remote. You hear a beep, and as it starts to come on, this red light up here will turn blue. And so the fan is starting to come on, and right now it's on standard cool. So that's what this snowflake symbol stands for. Then we've got a fan only button. This is called the strong button, and the fan actually slows down, but it sends out even more cold air. We have a sleep mode where it's checking on the temperature, especially like if you're in a tent, I would say, and it will let this thing run a lot longer on the battery, for example, if you're using just the battery, and it won't just run at full tilt on sending out cold air. Okay, and then it's got a light there. There, turn it on and turn that off. And then we have buttons here where we can turn the fan faster or slower. And then we see the temperature is being shown here, and it's pretty close. It's sending out some pretty cold air. So, and if I turn it on the strong mode, it definitely gets colder and colder. Very simple to operate. Again, you can use the touch buttons up here, or you can use the handy dandy remote. You have to understand, I got this when today I think it may get to 80, and it was even warmer yesterday, but it's in October now, and the temperatures are dropping, and so I can't show you an extended review because that I've used it in really hot weather yet, but that will be coming. But I do know how this works. I know how it puts out the cold air, and I've shown you it can run with the battery, it can run with shore power, a house outlet. But what really excites me is running it with my Ecoflow Delta. And if you watch the credits at the end, you know that Ecoflow they're my primary corporate partner. And I already had one Delta 1300 they sent me. Well, they've sent me a second one, and they're also sending me some other units, R600 and R600 Pro, and those are coming. And so I'm basing my whole electrical system, unless we have shore power, but if any other time, we are going to have more than enough power, and we did on a trip using this Delta 1300. And so how will it run with the Zero Breeze Mark II? Well, it does great. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this unit on, and I will show you a close-up. But what's really cool about the Delta, it's got a great screen, and it shows you how many hours they estimate this can run, or any device plugged into this. So I'm going to plug into the back. It's got 6 outlets back here. So I've turned on the outlets back there. As soon as I did that, the red light came on back here. And so now I'm going to turn the power on. And this will slowly start to come on. It's showing that it's sending out 70-degree air, and that will be dropping pretty quickly. But more importantly, as this thing ramps up, and I'll even turn it on the strong mode, or I call it turbo mode, to get it using that compressor even more. Right now, it's showing, it says it's dropping as this thing fires up. Right now it's estimating it can run this unit at this particular setting for 13 hours. Let me put on strong mode, and that's going to send out even colder air, and it's going to drop down. But it's still saying at this point that this Delta 1300 can power this for 12 hours. Now it says 11 because it's ramping up a bit more. But earlier I checked this, and it stayed around 11 or 10 hours that it can run this at this setting. And if I don't want it that cold, that means I'm going to get even more time here. So that's pretty exciting to see that I can run this all night long and still not run the battery all the way down. I mean, I like my sleep, but I don't sleep 10, 11, 12 hours. So that's something else to consider. This is a great combo using the Mark II made by Zero Breeze with a Delta 1300. And when I get the R600 Pro, wow, I'll be able to run this for a long, long time. And remember, these Deltas, I can charge it from 0 up to 100 in less than 2 hours. It's an amazing lithium battery. So this is probably what I'm most excited about, because I know I can run this all I want and use my batteries, take out my solar panels, and I'm good to go. So this is going to be a great addition for us as we're out camping, and we're going to have these sofas here with storage, so this will easily just drop in and we can pull it out whenever we need it, because I have no intention of putting a big unit on top of this Transit. I've already cut enough holes. I don't want another big one up there. So this is, I think, for me, the most exciting thing about this portable air conditioner. Well, there you have it. Just a short review of the Zero Breeze Mark II. And as I've told you, I came kind of late and cold weather's coming, so I really haven't had a chance to do extensive testing. But I've seen enough reviews and seen how this performs just around here in some sort of warm weather. I know it's going to be great, and especially with the Delta. So this is an option for people, and that's why I began a little search for portable air conditioners. And of course, they make small ones that roll around in your house, but I think this fits the bill even better. And by having these lithium batteries, I know that even wherever we're staying, if it's an overnight at a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart or at a park that doesn't have shore power, we can run this all we want. And so I'm excited about that. And so here's an option. And I just don't give prices. I will say it's not cheap, because prices can change. They can have specials and all that. So just go to their website that I'll have listed here and check out the price of the different choices. Just the air conditioner with the battery, with 2 batteries, and then some of the accessories that they have for it. So there you go, the Zero Breeze Mark II. This is going to keep us cool. Thanks for watching.